What up, guys? Back with another movie review for you. Really wasn't planning to do this one, but the trailers looked fun, I guess. Not necessarily good, but fun. And, you know, I'll see pretty much anything that isn't in 3D these days. And this movie was not in 3D, so it had that going for it. And, oh my god, there were like 5 trailers before this movie started. 5 trailers, 5 different movies. I swear to God, every single one of them is in 3D. Seriously, why? Why? Where did this crap come from? Why is every fucking movie in 3D these days? I honestly want to know this. All these movies, I mean, even ones where it makes absolutely no sense to put them in 3D. We all know Harry Potter 7 is going to clean up at the box office. Why are you making it in 3D? I mean, you're already making 2 movies out of Book 7. Is that not enough? Do you have to just squeeze just a little bit more money out of these moviegoers? I mean, none of the other ones were in 3D. Why is all this crap happening now? What is the point? Even with all these movies, it makes no sense to make them in 3D. I mean, especially if you're not filming in 3D, but that's a whole other video altogether. And I could go on about that all day. We're talking about Sorcerer's Apprentice here. First things first, Sorcerer's Apprentice. This is something that really bothered me. All right. Is that a good chunk of this movie, I mean, at least from an aesthetic standpoint, this movie is a huge, blatant, and frankly, a pretty cheap ripoff of the Dresden Files. And if you don't know what the Dresden Files is a series of books by Jim Butcher. Basically, it's about a private investigator who happens to be a wizard. And ironically, Nicolas Cage, who stars in this movie, actually had a hand in producing the TV series that was based on the Dresden Files books. And this is so funny. Not that long ago, Jim Butcher, the author, posted some links on his Twitter account showing comparisons between promotional art for this movie and promotional art from the Dresden Files books, cover art, that sort of thing. They were almost identical. And I was like, wow, they're not even trying to hide that, are they? I mean, I could see why he was pissed off about this. I mean, even in this movie, I mean, Nick Cage was actually, his wizard costume that they put him in, he looks remarkably similar to the cover art from the Dresden Files books. I'm like, are they kidding me with this? So, right there, that was strike number 1. And before I move on, as far as rip-offs are concerned, if we're talking about rip-offs with this movie, Trevor Rabin, I am disappointed in you, my friend. I am very disappointed because there's one of the main musical cues of this movie, of the score of this movie, the musical score, is, I swear to God, one of the biggest rip-offs I have ever seen of, believe it or not, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, one of the main musical cues of this movie is a complete rip-off of the score, the main score of Pirates of the Caribbean. You know that dun 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 dun. Trevor Rabin took the music and he copied it. The score, it's almost identical. I swear to God, I noticed this just like that. I'm like, what the hell? This is the Pirates of the Caribbean score. He took it and he fucking copied it. That's the only explanation. I mean, there's no way that could have been a coincidence. Oh, man. Okay, that was strike number 2, I guess. They start the movie off with this, not necessarily long, but very excessive exposition scene. It's basically a big flashback sequence where they give you the entire backstory of the movie, accompanied by a really excessive voiceover. And in a much better movie, this would have ideally played out maybe through, if not throughout the movie, then this sequence would have lasted maybe 20 minutes to kind of play this out and really give us a feel for this thing instead of just rushing through everything. But no. It's just, they give you a ton of information really, really quickly. It doesn't give you a chance to absorb anything. It really doesn't work. I mean, that was just a sign of, frankly, just lazy writing. And to be honest, lazy filmmaking, which this thing has a lot of. Basically, the story is Nick Cage is one of the apprentices of Merlin. And one of the other apprentices turns on him, turns to the dark side, and Nick Cage stops him, and he's in prison. He's put in this magical prison for like 1,000 years until he escapes. So after he's in the bad guy, played by Alfred Molina, he's in this magical prison for 1,000 years. He escapes, and for some reason he's wearing modern 21st century clothes. I mean, for some reason he has knowledge of modern stuff, modern technology, modern culture. Okay, he's been locked away in an urn for 1,000 years, and yet he knows what Chinatown is. Really? Can you explain that to me? How does that work? And while we're on the subject of lazy writing, how about we talk about the way magic is portrayed in this movie? Because sure, magic can be a fun thing to play around with in a film, but you have to explain it. And they sort of do. I mean, they give it this half-baked pseudo-science explanation that feels oddly out of place, but it's so dumbed down. I mean, if you want magic to be interesting, you have to put limits on it. You have to tell us what it can do and what it can't do. Because it seems like in this movie, magic can do pretty much whatever the plot requires in order to move the story forward. You know, it can bring people back to life. It can let you throw plasma bolts at people. It can let you control fire. It can let you throw people through mirrors into other dimensions and stuff. I mean, it's just, I don't understand. I mean, what's the point of learning different spells if it seems like you can do just about anything you want with the most basic understanding of magic and like minimal training and whatever? It's just, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. There are times when they go for laughs. They don't really work. I mean, you might chuckle once or twice, but it's not, you're not going to bust a gut laughing at this thing or anything like that. And the script isn't even that tight, which is odd because I'm pretty sure, I think some of the writers here worked on The Sopranos. It was, I don't know, I mean, there's this whole, there's this thing about this, there's this dichotomy they're working on about like science versus technology, and it actually, and they really don't hit that very much. I mean, it comes up occasionally throughout the movie, but they don't really hit it as much as they probably should have, considering it plays a big part in the climax of the movie. It's just, it really bothers me to see Nick Cage doing this kind of stuff, because Nick Cage, to this day, is still one of my favorite actors, and I keep waiting for him to be cool again. You know, I want the Nick Cage back who did, you know, the Rock, or Adaptation, or hell, even Con Air. You know, back when Nick Cage was cool. When I see him doing like crap movies like Wicker Man, I mean, it hurts. It hurts me to see him like that, and I keep waiting for him to go back to being the cool Nick Cage. You know, when I saw him in Kick-Ass, I thought, hey, all right, man, you're heading in the right direction, Nick. Good job. You know, this is the guy I want to see more of. But then this, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like he's slumming it. It's just I didn't hate the movie. It's just not, there's just not a whole lot to like about it, I guess. I don't know. So apparently, not being in 3D is no longer a good enough excuse to see a movie. Son of a bitch.